Okay, so properties of rectangles is actually very similar to properties of parallelograms. All right, they still have four sides. There's two other extra properties that we don't have that we have in parallelograms. You guys remember we wrote all these down from last time about properties of parallelograms. They have opposite sides that are congruent, opposite angles that are parallel, opposite sides that are parallel, opposite angles that are congruent, consecutive angles that are supplementary, and diagonals bisect each other. Now that we're doing rectangles, we know that we have four right angles. Four right angles, and also the diagonals are congruent. Because those angles are right angles, the diagonals are congruent. What does it mean when it says right angles, or four right angles? What kind of degrees is that? 90. So what that means is if we have a rectangle, you guys know this, you guys have learned this in second grade, maybe longer. That means that each of those four angles is a right angle. That is important for when we get to our angles. Any questions on the properties? Okay. So, number one, let's fill out this picture. All right, they're asking for QR. What is QR going to be? 10. How do I get 10? Because it's the same as CS, right? So QR is 10. What about SR? 24. Okay, we all agree that SR is 24 because opposite sides are parallel and congruent. What about SQ? Do I know what SQ is going to be? That's what everyone thinks, but it's not 24. Take a look at this rectangle, and in your mind, or highlighter, whatever you have, let's make it into a right triangle. Because that's a right angle, right? Do you guys remember from Unit 7, what do we do? Good morning, though.
No.
All right. What do we do when we have two sides? We want to find this third side, which we call X. What's that word? Starts with a P. Pythagorean theorem. You guys remember that? So, if I want to find this diagonal, I'm going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In this case, what's my hypotenuse? The x, right? So we have, let's say, 10 squared plus 24 squared is equal to x squared. Because we want to find out what that diagonal is. All right. In the past, hold on. Let me pause it. Okay, so in the past, what we've done for for Pythagorean theorem is we've solved it, right? Now let's use Desmos. Let's use our resources. We have 10x squared plus, was it 24 squared?
Yes.
Is equal to x squared. I can't see anything, so let's zoom out. Oh, no one corrected me. This is not 10x. 10 squared. 10 squared plus 24 squared equals x squared. All right, so what's my x going to be? 26. So instead of us doing the actual Pythagorean theorem, we can use our resources and know that Desmos tells me that x equals 26. Okay? Now, that means that this entire diagonal is going to be 26. Because diagonals are congruent, each piece has to be equal to each other. Okay? So what's 26 divided by 2? 13, good. So that means that this guy is 13 and that guy is 13. Because still, technically, the whole thing is 26. So now we can keep going. What is S cubed? 26. What about PR? 26, because diagonals are congruent. If one diagonal is 26, then the other diagonal is going to be 26. And then what about QT? 13. Good. Does that make sense? Let's say number 2 then. With number 2, they told me that AE was 15 and BC was 27. So let's see what else I can figure out. They're asking for AC. AC is this diagonal. What is AC going to be? How did you get 30?
15 plus 15.
Because diagonals are congruent and they bisect each other, so AC, the whole thing, is 30. Alright, so BD is going to be 30, because diagonals are congruent. What about BE? 15, because my diagonals are the same. So BE is 15. What about AD? 27. Opposite sides are congruent. And then BC. We don't know that yet, right? Okay, so once again, I'm going to look at my picture as a triangle, because I can figure out what that side is. I have a right triangle here, right? This side is 27. This side is basically 30, right? I don't know what this is, so Pythagorean theorem. What's my equation going to be?
X squared plus 27 squared.
X squared plus 27 squared equals 30 squared. You guys type this into Desmos and tell me what you get for X. Round to the nearest 10th. Did you get Lulu?
I didn't have
Okay. Get a calculator. Or you have Desmos on your phone? Use it. As the more you can practice this, the better.
13.
It should be 13 point something.
Oh,
13.1. You guys all get 13.1? If you round it to the nearest 10? Okay, so that means that X here is 13.1. Alright, so BC is 13.1. Because I needed to find this other side, so I split my rectangle into a triangle. And so this side was 27, my diagonal was 30, and then we had to find the other side. All good? All right, this is where the fun starts, the angles. All right, look at number 3. Do you guys recognize that I basically have 4 little triangles inside of a rectangle? You guys see that? All right, we've already acknowledged that diagonals are congruent. So let's put some hash marks on my diagonals. I know they're going to be congruent. For these problems, you can solve them a number of different ways. I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. Look at this yellow triangle. If I have 2 sides that are congruent, my base angles are congruent. So, if this guy over here is 27, then this guy is 27. Because base angles are congruent. And then the same thing goes for the opposite angles. So that means that this angle would be 27, And that angle would be 27. Now, I haven't figured out this top middle angle here, but I can. There's how many degrees inside of a triangle? So let's do 180 minus 27 minus 27 to get that vertex angle. What do you get?
126.
You get 126. So 126 there and 126 there. They're just vertical angles. So now that I have those two triangles, I can figure out the other one. Okay, so you can do this a number of ways, but in each corner is how many degrees? Nope. There's 4 right angles, right? All right, Michael says 90, because that means that all of these are right angles. So that means I can subtract what from what to get my other angle. So 90 minus 27 for this corner angle is going to give me what?
63.
So Lulu's telling us that that's 63. So that means your base angles are both 63. If you flip it to the other side, this is 63 and that's 63. How can I figure out that top vertex angle?
180 minus 63.
So let's do 180, because we're just looking at this one triangle for a second. Minus 63 minus 63. What do we get?
54.
Okay, so this top angle is 54, and the vertical angle across from it is 54. Do we understand that part? Okay, this is where you guys tend to have problems. Let's see if we can figure out if we know how to look at angles here. All right. All right, the measure of NJK. So I start at N, I go up to J, I go over to K. What is that middle angle there? Huh? It's both of these angles together, right? It's the whole corner. So what's that whole corner angle? Guys, what is this corner angle? 90. So let's write that down. 90 degrees. We have to understand how we're measuring angles. All right, and always take your finger and follow it. See what you get. If I go from N to J and down to L, what angle is that in the middle? 63, good. So we get 63 degrees. Okay, let's go from J, L to K. So I start at J, go down to L, I go up to K. What's that middle angle? That's included in that angle. 63 degrees. All right, and we have K and L. So from K down to N and over to L, what's that inside angle? 27. And then from N to L. So N was in the middle. M and L. What's that interior angle? That is 126. Does that make sense how we just did that? All right, I want you guys to take 2 minutes and do number 4. I'll get you started. I want you to look at it as if, start with the triangle, start with whatever they give you. They gave me 64 as the vertex angle. I know all these sides have to be congruent. My base angles have to be congruent. How can I figure out what these two base angles are? Just look at that yellow triangle. There's how many degrees inside the triangle? Guys, there's how many degrees inside this one triangle? 180. If I subtract that vertex angle, what am I left with? Do 180 minus 64. 116? Alright, so that means between these two base angles that are equal, I get 116. How do I divide that 116 up evenly? Divide by 2. And so what do you get? You get 58. So that means that this guy here is 58, and that guy there is 58. So now, you could probably move down and do this triangle because it's just like the yellow triangle. Do it just like we just did number 3. Take 2 minutes. So did you guys get 58 degrees down here? And 58 degrees? And 64? Did we at least do that good? Okay. Now we moved on to the other triangle on the side. This is the right angle, right? So we do 90 minus 58, what are we left with? Okay, so this is 32, and this guy is 32. So that guy is 32, and that guy is 32. Did we get that? Good. So now we're just left with these two vertex angles. You can do it 2 different ways. You can see that 64 and this angle is a linear pair, so you can do 180 minus 64. Or you can look at the triangle and do 180 minus 32 minus 32. What do you get for that vertex angle for the side triangles? 116? Yep, that's what I got too. So that's 116 and that's 116. Good. So if we answer our questions, the measure of x, w, y is 58 degrees. Write this in if you didn't have it. Y, x, and down to z would be 32 degrees. W, V was in the middle, so WVZ was 116. X, W, Z was 90. And X, Z, Y was 58 degrees. All good? All right, let's skip number 5. Let's turn to page number 6. So number 6, it says find EF. All right, Izzy. I know that my sides are congruent, right? So how do I solve for X? Good, they're going to be equal to each other. So I do 3x plus 5 is equal to 7x minus 39. You guys can solve by hand if you want, or this is the perfect time to do Desmos. You guys tell me what you get for x.
11.
Okay, everyone should be getting 11. Make sure that you're practicing typing this in, because if you just wait for the answers, you're not really practicing. I want you to feel comfortable doing this. All right, is 11 our answer? No, because they asked me for EF. So we have 7 times 11 minus 39. What do we get for the measure of EF? You should get 38. Good. gave you guys like your test. Some rest still have some new tests for unit 7. All right, let's look at number 7. All right, so they told us that RT, so RT is 5x minus 14. And then US is 2x plus 10. If diagonals are congruent and they bisect each other, how do I set this up as an equation? They're going to be equal to each other. So we have 5x minus 14 is equal to 2x plus 10. What do you guys get for x? Y'all agree that is 8? Yes, that's what I got. Okay, they're asking us to find BT. Okay, so let's take this whole side of RT and just cut it in half because we know that each piece has to be the same amount. So we're going to take RT, which is 5 times 8 minus 14, which gives me what? 26. All right. So this whole yellow line is 26. So this. All right. So we had this whole line that was 26. All I need is this piece right here. So cut it in half. What is 26 divided by 2? So BT is equal to 13. What you have to know there is that diagonals bisect each other and they're congruent. So then you know if one piece is 13, the other piece is 13. All right, let's skip number 8. Let's look at number 9. On number 9, it says BW, if BW is 9x minus 11, and SU, so this whole piece is 16x minus 12, find WT. Okay, so do you guys see that they gave us just this little bitty piece right there compared to the whole other diagonal, right? So I need 2 of these red pieces to equal 1 of my blue pieces. So we're going to do 2 times 9x minus 11 is equal to the whole other diagonal, 16x plus 12. What do you get for x?
It's 0.0.
Oh, careful. Should be a whole number.
Oh, I forgot.
Did you guys get 5? Lulu, did you get 5? Okay, they're asking me to find WT. So I know whatever BW is, the same thing is going to be for WT. So let's just plug it in. 9 times 5 minus 11 leaves me with what?
34.
34. So that means that BW is 34 and also WT is 34. All right, I want you to work on 10, 11, and 12. I want you to make these changes. On 10, want with me? On 10, I want you to find x. On 11, I want you to find x. And on 12, I want you to find x. So you're not finding the angle. We're starting simpler. I want you to find what x is first. So 10, 11, and 12. Do not do 13. You guys will have, let's do 6 minutes for those, and then I'll go over the answers on the document, Cameron.